From questions about cucumbers to homes on cul-de-sacs, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Ask Mr. Greenthumb and Real Estate Show with Stan DeFreitas, the dad, and James DeFreitas, the son. For the next hour, learn about gardening, growing your favorite veggies, and growing your profits in real estate. Call them anytime at 727-254-7127. That's 727-254-7127. And now, your hosts, Stan and James DeFreitas.
And a big good morning to you as we start another edition of the Ask Mr. Greenthumb's Gardening and Real Estate Show. I am the dad, and you are?
And of course, I am James DeFreitas, and I'm the son, and we are here each and every week to talk about your gardening and or real estate needs. And I like to start off every show by mentioning that, if you have a gardening question and you want to go to the website, you absolutely can do that. That's AskMrGreenthumb.com. That's ASKMR Greenthumb, not the MISTER. That will take you somewhere entirely else, and that will not help us. Once you go to the website, you'll see an Ask link at the top left corner. You can click on that. You can put your pictures in, and you can send us a picture of either something that's going wrong in your yard, or if you want to do a bug identification, Stan does that as well. Hit send, and we usually try to get back to people in 24 to 48 hours, so we're pretty quick, and it's a free service.
And speaking of that, let me say we had a young lady from Sun City Center who sent me a question the other day, and she said, look, she was looking about these blue bees or mason bees, and she had them in her yard.
Blue bees?
It has a little bit of a blue tinge to the wing. It is a solitary bee. They don't make hives. They go into the ground, and so they're a little bit different, and they don't typically sting people, so I wouldn't get all worried about trying to go after them.
They go in the ground.
They go in the ground.
That's weird.
And a lot of folks, well, kind of like wasps and other things can. So, they're one of these bees. They make pollen. They are good pollinators. So let's not kill them because, a lot of times a good bee is a dead bee to a lot of people, and that's not the case. And it's not the case. I mean, they were here. They're here. Without them, we don't get things pollinated. And all of you got to glue on these great big wings and fly around and pollinate stuff with this toothbrush, thing in your mouth. And that's going to be difficult. I can think of Boreal. Well, they're just hanging out. Different. Won't even go there. But, I think that's going to be a problem if you start killing them. So keep them. Right. And the odds, if you don't bother them, the only times people usually get stung by a bee is when you're out there swatting at them and you've got this thing, and eventually they go, oh, you mean me harm? Well, then let me show you what my little stinger does to your nose. So don't do that, and you'll be in much better shape.
Exactly. And make sure you carry your EpiPen if you're going to be anywhere around in Florida where there are bees.
If you're you were allergic. As a kid, I always carried one because, I thought, well, James could have a reaction.
Yeah. Never actually had an anaphylactic shock or anything like that, so that was good.
So I guess I shouldn't have shot you that many times.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Maybe next time you'll do it for therapeutic reasons instead.
Exactly.
But we do want to mention we have the great, the one, the only Steve Stanford with plants that is in studio today with us. And so we have tons of questions for him. One of the first questions that I have for you is, I don't know if we ever got an origin story on you, on how did plants become plants?
Well, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate being here. And I will add that we do have a bee situation in the U.S. and across the globe. Diminishing populations, use of certain pesticides has harmed the populations, and we need those little boogers pollinating stuff for sure.
Amen.
So plants got started for me after I rolled out of a business opportunity with my cousin. Love my cousin. He was in a tech play, and I needed a cousinectomy. And love the guy still. And I found a local business and bought into it, and that was in 2004. The name of the company then was Living Plants / Evergreen Interiors LLC.
Wow, that's
25 characters. So I said, let's get some marketing brains on this thing, and we found Plants, PLANTZ, and in 2006 we started marketing as Plants, and we've steadily grown the business since then. And that's the short story. There's a lot of long stuff and a lot of figuring out different ways to manage plants indoors. It's a perishable item in an environment that we really don't control, and it's tough. People think that it's a rather easy business, and it's not. It's physically demanding on our technicians. They carry water, which is 8 pounds a gallon, and they are fatigued at the end of the day. But about 4 or 5 years ago, before that, we were marketing ourselves as plants.us. You know us as plants.us. So in the Tampa Bay metro area, down Sarasota up to Brooksville, and even out into Orlando, we're plants.us. About 5 years ago, I was having a beer Memorial Day, and I finally found plants.com, plantz.com, available on a site. It was some company over in the Bahamas squatting on the dang thing, and I needed to have it. Press the button. $12,000 later, I own the domain, and we put a retail site on it. So on that site, we are selling plants, large foliage plants, up to 6-7 feet tall, and ship them across the country.
Wow.
So as you can imagine, that with the popularity of houseplants these days, that part of the business took off during the pandemic, and it really cash flowed us during that time. The company, full disclosure here, we did the first round of the PPP. Second round, we were disqualified because we had too much revenue.
That's what a great
from
problem.
the site. So
Yeah.
So I didn't have to take the government money twice, which we're a little bit proud of.
Yeah, I would be. Well, I know you come from your family and your children. Everybody is pretty much pro-America and pro being in the service, and we salute them for their service to our country.
I got a son who's an officer in the Marine Corps.
That's awesome.
He's a scout platoon commander.
Wow.
Scout sniper platoon commander.
Wow.
And he's at Camp Lejeune. My daughter just graduated from UF. Go Gators.
Go Gators.
She earned her master's degree in 4 years, and she's working for Raymond James Financial.
Wow, that's fantastic.
A smart young lady.
Yeah.
She is.
Wow,
She
that's
is.
awesome.
Well, they didn't fall too far from the old tree, as we like to say.
I just got my dang ag degree from Florida, and I'm just going to go work it as hard as I can.
See, now you're starting to sound like the folks around Gainesville on the outer skirt there.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah, because it's pronounced Alachua.
Well, we are glad that, of course, you were here and that plants is a part of our family. And, for a lot of folks, as you say, you can ship those plants, for mom, or they're in New York City, they're in Chicago, they're wherever. And, what do we give ma or grandma that they're really going to love and they're going to remember, and maybe there's a chance it'll still be there. And if you're like I am, I hate the idea of sending something that I don't know if somebody's going to want. Doily or towels or whatever. But a plant's kind of that living personal gift.
It is.
And people like it.
It is. And for people given plants as gifts, we recommend you do a gift certificate. Because even Grandma, Aunt Marge, whoever, has different light levels in their house. And, of course, you guys know that different interior plants can sustain different light levels. And so it's always best for the person in their home to pick what's best for their home.
Right, and maybe watch some of your videos, too, that you've done, because...
With you guys.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, knowledge is power. You've done the homework for people. We've done those videos, and the thing to me is, if you're not sure what's going to work, ask or watch some videos and try to get that knowledge base handled. But the big distinction for me is that if people want to go find out about the rental side of what you do, it's plants.us.
Correct.
And if they want to buy plants, it's plants.com.
Correct.
Okay, so that's the big distinguishing factor. I thought it was important to mention that because, if you go to one site, you're going to be talking about one thing, and the other thing you can actually buy. So,
well, it's two different domains.
Right.
One's service-centric on plants.us. The other is retail sales-centric on plants.com.
Sure.
But we have a common mission across both of our platforms is to make people happy with plants.
Sure.
So whether we have our service technicians servicing plants in St. Petersburg, Clearwater, here, there, or we're sending plants to Chicago, New York, Des Moines.
Wow.
We've shipped to all, 49 states. We can't ship into Hawaii. Plus, they've got awesome foliage out there. They don't need to ship anything there anyway.
Sure.
We've shipped even to Alaska.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, because that is not a short trip.
It's not. It's
Yeah.
not. plants can sustain themselves pretty well in in a box for 5, 6, even 7 days. But after that, they need to come out. Right.
Yeah, it's trouble. Yeah, so that's interesting. So if you go to plants.us or you go to plants.com, but I wanted the other site, do they link back and forth so that if I could get to one, I can get to the other?
Yeah, typically someone in New York isn't looking for us to manage their plants. So on plants.us, we have a buy a plant button, and it takes you to plants.com.
Gotcha. So you can't make a mistake is my point.
No. So if you go to plants.us, you find us there, and you want to buy a plant, little button.
That's fantastic. Yeah, because I find sometimes what happens is you get some people going, well, that's not what I was thinking, and I didn't understand. And so you almost have to account for every potential mistake people could make in order to make sure they get where they want to go.
That's a tall order, James.
Yeah.
Well, that's the reason to look at some of the videos, too, and maybe even do some questioning, saying, hey, here's my light level, or take a picture of your light level and send it to Steve's technicians, and they can look at it and go, I don't know. Maybe where's a little bit more light in your place?
We get people in Maine. Okay, I've got a north-facing window, and I want to put everybody wants the ficus lyrata, but it requires a lot of light. So up there in a north-facing window, it's not going to get.
It's not going to work.
No, so
it's probably not going. It's going to be an annual.
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, that's important, and find out. And I say we were proud to help Steve, film some little vignettes,
how-to videos,
which we did, and which James helped me.
Or better yet, don't do videos.
Still active on our website. People are looking at them every day, guys.
Good. So we appreciate that. Well, we did. I did 12 years on PBS that I produced a show, and 2 years on CBS that James helped me put together. And I was happy to say we beat CBS News out of New York. They go, we don't know about this plant thing. We don't know if people will watch it. And I said, well, we beat the NFL today, and we beat CSI in our reruns and stuff. So they went, it's kind of funny. You did a lot better than we thought. Yeah. Not that I could get program directors are always like, I don't know if we want this program or not. But,
which is ironic because, as we went through the COVID mess, just as Steve just indicated, people got more interested in having plants in their home. They got more interested in looking around their home. And, you went into even a mom and pop landscape nursery, and they were busy. You walk. They just, they always seem short-staffed to me, and it was an eye-opener for me that when people have extra free time, they really do care about the aesthetics inside their home.
It's sustained this year as well.
Yeah. So
garden centers are very active, churning out plants, and the houseplant craze is still very popular.
That's an awesome thing. And with that noise, we'll be taking a little break here to pay some bills.
We're going to tell you that Steve Stanford from Plants, Plantz, is with us, and James is with us, and I am with you, as we are every Sunday morning. So we want you to stay with us as the plant talk continues. So if you've got a thought about something, well, send a question to Steve. Remember, you're listening to AM 860, The Answer.
Interested in having a home consult? Remember, you can reach Stan at 727-423-4794 or on the web at askmrgreenthumb.com. Welcome back to the Ask Mr. Green Thumb and Real Estate Show. Connect online at askmrgreenthumb.com. Got questions about gardening, real estate, or both? Give them a call, 727-254-7127. That's 727-254-7127. And now, your hosts, Stan and James DeFreitas.
Well, I am Stan DeFreitas, and of course, my son James is with us, as always. We're almost always. Sometimes one of us takes off.
Well, I am here today, happily to say, and of course I am James DeFreitas. We always like to mention to people, too, if you have plant questions, you can always go to Stan's website at AskMrGreenthumb.com. That's AskMrGreenthumb.com with an MR. And you can ask Stan a question directly through the website. You can tap the Ask link. You can actually take a photo right off of your phone, and you can send it to us. Try to get a wide shot, an up-close shot if it's a leaf, and the same thing with a bug, too. If you want a bug ID, try to get something kind of a wide shot and then up close so that we can take a look at it. And we're pretty good. We're pretty good about getting people back the information that they want within 24 to 48 hours. And, of course, if it's a holiday, we might be a little longer. And of course, if you have real estate questions, you can always go to our website for that, which is FloridaAuctionTeam.com. That's FloridaAuctionTeam.com. That's spelled all out. And we'll be happy to discuss anything on that. If you have any questions, regarding real estate, or if you're looking into the real estate auctions, we can help with that as well. And of course, we have the one and only Steve Stanford with plants today.
And I have a question.
Sure.
Right.
What is the craziest picture you ever got from your website on a plant question?
Oh, goodness.
I don't know. I had a lady call me on the radio one time. This was years and years ago, and I was sure she was like half blotto. When she called me up and she goes, "You are one sexy, good-looking man." And because she saw the TV show at the time ran at about the same time as that, and I kept thinking, I said, "Well, thanks, darling. I appreciate that." And I kept thinking, of course, now this was also 30 years ago or 40 years ago, but I didn't know exactly how to take her nice compliment. But I just ran with it.
So 30, 40 years ago, she didn't send you a picture.
No.
But I have seen some pictures that have been sent to me that were.
I can answer this. I had one picture about a year ago, and a lady was taking pictures in her backyard, and she inadvertently took a picture. She must have turned the camera around inadvertently on like a selfie picture, and she was just only in her bra and underwear, and
must have thought it was a Zoom meeting.
and she sent it anyway. And and I, and I'd love to say it was a pinup girl and it was something I would like to look at, but it was not. It was, I'll leave it at that. I could come up with 100 adjectives, but it was definitely something that I would say you'd want to delete about as quickly as you could, and I did. So, but needless to say, even her, we answered her question, and she was happy, and I didn't mention the fact that she inadvertently sent us a picture of her in her I assume not close.
Maybe she did send it on purpose. Who knows? I mean,
it does pay to advertise.
Well, we believe in marketing, and that's the reason we're here on radio. And the more you market, the better it is.
Since we started selling online, we were business to business here in town, and now we're dealing with retail customers, and it's a little bit different ball game.
Sure.
Yeah.
The Amazon factor in the marketplace, people don't like something, they just want to send it back, and it's a little bit more difficult to do with the plant. And we get crazy pictures of stupid things FedEx does with plants, delivering upside down. Just the other day, someone's puppy ate the top off of one of their ficus trees.
Oh, no.
And this person was not asking for a refund or anything, but the dog just completely ripped the thing apart.
Wow.
Was the dog okay?
The dog's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I imagine wouldn't, little latex in the leaf.
No problem.
Okay.
Well,
interesting.
That's interesting. That's good.
Do you sell anything that would not be pet friendly?
There's a few plants that we market, and it's listed on each of the listings that are slightly toxic, and we tell them to keep away from babies and pets, and don't eat the dang thing. So there's
got a disclaimer for that too. Yeah, because
sure.
I do find because Stan and I are constantly dealing with retail customers every day, and again, God love them, they're great people, but at the end of the day, we do get some doozies. It's like, you would have thought some of these things would have been learned just by living life, and yet they really haven't been for some people. And then we're going over stuff, and I'm going, wow, I guess that wasn't taught to you earlier in life, but now we're going over it now. So I guess the thing for me with dealing with retail customers is that you learn incredible amounts of patience that you never knew you even had.
Yeah, it's true. Well, especially even real estate. We do, the real estate type thing, and I'm so used to people wanting to get a hold of me. Over the years, I've talked to 100,000 people on questions about plants and trees and stuff, being a certified arborist that never carries a chainsaw. But we just worked on a case the other day, which was fun. We were over on the other coast, over in Vero. Some people are racing horses, like $60,000 plus on up. Horses, these
Andalusian horses,
real pretty, and little small horses. Was in another place we were working on, but that was kind of fun. I mean, to see
definitely above my pay grade, because we got out there, and to me, this is a business that if you're born into it, you would know all of these things. It's not. I mean, to go and start creating show horses, racing horses. I mean, that's just not something that I think you just go into doing.
Was the horse engagement, a real estate question?
Well, it was actually an eminent domain case.
Okay, gotcha.
It's an eminent domain case. I can't talk too much about it because it's just ongoing. But I get hired to go all over the state and look at trees that are in a take area, or where they're going to widen a road or put a school in or whatever. And often James gets involved because he's my young legs that can move around.
I'm the grunt laborer of the day.
And we do have a division of labor, but I do sit in the vehicle and wave and point. And I'm very good at pointing and stuff. Now, James is great about helping me. So,
well, as he pointed out yesterday to the engineer, he's just the pretty face. I'm the worker.
And no oleanders around the horses, right?
I didn't see any oleanders
around the
horses.
Any of those.
No.
Yeah. But I guess my point was, these people are very high class, very a lot of money going on, and and again, I was raised very blue collar, and so it's very much again, it's not to say that people were snobby, but there's definitely a distinction going on there, and their horse stable looked nicer than most people's homes, so if that's an indicator. But needless to say, it was a lot of fun to go out and see the different things that we see in these court cases, because you never know. I mean, the other case was a regular simple type farmer guy, and to tell you the truth, I kind of enjoy that better because they're more down to earth and they're more approachable, and they're to me it's an easier way of dealing with people than other types of people.
And it's funny because people will come along sometime and go, well, you still got plenty of other trees there if we take these trees along the area. And I go, well, under that logic, it'd be kind of like, well, we had 6 kids and you lose 3. You still got 3. So who cares? Exactly. Anyway, we want you to stay, and Steve's going to stay with us as we continue the talk here on AM 860 The Answer. Don't go anywhere and stay right with us.
Want to talk real estate auctions? Call James DeFreitas at 727-254-7127 or go online, floridaauctionteam.com. Welcome back to the Ask Mr. Greenthumb and Real Estate Show. Got questions about perennial problems with flowers? What about issues with closing on your newest property? Give them a call at 727-254-7127. That's 727-254-7127. And now, your hosts, Stan and James DeFreitas.
And I am Stan DeFreitas, Mr. Greenthumb, and James DeFreitas is here with us.
I'm James DeFreitas, and we are here each and every week to talk about gardening and real estate. And this week we're focusing on gardening, and that's why we have Mr. Steve Stanford here with plants. And of course, you run 2 different types of businesses. You have your service plant rental business, and then you sell the plants too. So I have a question for you on the sales side of things, which is plants, plantz.com. If you go there, how many different types of plants are you now selling?
Well, you guys know that the house plant, the whole palette of house plants, it's dominated by a few palms, a few dracaenas, pothos, some other family plants, but it's mostly palms, ericaceae, and dracaenas. So right now we have about 15 different kinds of plants.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So it is, and we're adding all the time. But as you guys can well imagine, I mean, the popular plants now are the Ficus audrey, which might be outpacing the Ficus lyrata.
Okay. The fiddle-leaf fig.
Fiddle-leaf fig, yes. Fiddle-leaf fig, yes.
See, I've taught him. I took him with a mindful of mush and turned him into horticulturist.
I just keep hearing the fiddle-leaf fig. Steve mentions it a couple times, and for whatever reason, when you're editing up footage that you've done for somebody and you have to hear it a bunch of times to make it time out right, or to
it sticks in your brain.
It sticks in your brain. I mean, there are certain things that I've definitely committed to memory. Like we went out. I did a consult for Stan the other day, and I thought it was a banyan tree. And I guess it's in the same family as a banyan tree, but it wasn't.
It is. It was a Ficus nitida.
Ficus
the
nitida.
Cuban laurel.
Yeah.
Which for some people, now the problem I have is, let's say they get a Ficus nitida given to them, and they put it outside. It wants to be, a 50-foot tall, 60-foot tall tree and spread that far. And I try to advise folks, remember the ultimate size.
Yeah, because this thing was massive. I mean, it was absolutely massive. And the reason they were calling us out is and again, I should mention the client was an epidemiologist, and so we got into the COVID topic, and he had a different opinion than Dr. Fauci. I'll leave it at that. But anyways, he was upset because he was going out there 2 and 3 times a day with his blower to blow all the leaves off of his cool deck around his pool.
Because he had thrips. You can't have a Cuban laurel without having thrips.
Yeah, and of course, I didn't know anything about the thrips at all, so that's why we were doing FaceTiming, we were telemedicine, if you will, and Stan was able to take a look at the leaf over FaceTime, and he's like, let me look at the leaf, is it curled over? And of course it was, and then there was these little white-looking things on it.
Thrips are either usually white or black, depending on the stage that they're in.
Yeah, and this one was in the white, I guess, the more adolescent stage.
And they've got the little rasping mouth part on a thrip.
I've got a solution for the thrips on the Ficus nitida.
Oh, good. Okay. I want to hear this, too.
It's called a chainsaw.
Yeah. No, we didn't say that. You know why? Because we want to be able to go back and re-inject these trees down the line.
Yeah, well, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because the first thing I said, how much do you like these trees? And
if the guy's got it parked next to a pool, the roots are going to do some damage one of these days.
Well, the first thing the wife said to me is, we love this tree. We planted this tree the day our granddaughter was born.
But there again, I've learned not to always give my opinion on everything, because what I may not do, you may do, and just say I love it. I love this ficus, and ficus in general are probably too big for the average lot. I mean, remember, one of them, the ficus bengalis, went a quarter of a mile at one point in India. I mean, when I think it was.
It is the biggest tree in the
running
continuous ecosystem in the world.
Yep. Yeah. Alexander the Great at one point supposedly had his whole army underneath one great big ficus. Huh. And he was conquering at the time all of the known world. Eventually, I guess. He had a bad end, because this idea of conquering the whole world is kind of hard to hold. But that's a whole other history question we can go into someday.
You're supposed to give it the obligatory if true. And then you can run with it.
Then we can say whatever we want to say.
Yeah. Exactly, if true.
I'm so glad I got a history lesson here today.
Yes. But, that's fine. We try to bring out other things. People asked me one time, how come you just don't talk about the Phalaenopsis? And, I said, because I'm going to lose 90% of my audience if I just give you the Latin name and the thing. I try to make it interesting, and when Lloyd Sowers did an interview with me, he said, when you look back on your career, do you want to be remembered as somebody who was entertaining or informative? And I said, well, hopefully both. If I can make it fun and informative, then we did my job.
Gotcha.
So, and if you haven't seen that story, Lloyd Sowers did a great story for Channel 13, and you'll learn a little bit about
how they saved your life at TGH.
And they did.
So that ran recently? Because I have not seen that.
You can go through.
I'll send you the link.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lloyd came out and did a story on us.
Great.
About this time last year when freaking sales were going crazy. So
okay.
Super.
Yeah.
So he was trying to put a spotlight on the idea of how people were spending their time.
Yes.
Because that was the thing. What I noticed, and again, this parallels to what you're talking about, what I noticed was the spike of people that were interested in plant-related education material on our website. Because when I started looking, and again, for those that don't know, every website has something called analytics, and it gives people the ability to see how your traffic is doing on your website. And man, did the videos spike for several months. We must have had, again, for a plant-related thing, we probably get 30 to 40 new subscribers on our YouTube channel, and for a while there, we were getting 200 to 300 subscribers every week. So it was just ridiculous, with people having more free time and, the interest.
Or being trapped at home.
Yeah, being trapped at home. But, but I do think if there was one silver lining with these things being locked down, with everybody being locked down, is it changed people's focus a little bit on making sure that they did go out and improve the interior spaces. Let's make their interior space more beautiful by adding plants,
And we all know what that's called, right, fellas? Biophilia. People's attraction to other living things, and whether you're home or in your office, especially if you're at your desk 8 some hours a day, having a plant nearby enhances productivity. It kicks out oxygen. There were studies that showed that companies that embraced the plants in the office environment were having fewer sick days.
Yeah.
And, there's a real benefit to having plants in the interior environment.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they keep talking, and I see one of the things that keeps getting mentioned is, well, we've upgraded our ventilation systems. We've done this, we've done that. And I'm thinking, well, if you added some more plants, you could also take pollution right out of the air, too.
The plants will absorb the VOCs and metabolize them, and other processes, kick out oxygen, and it's win-win-win-win.
We should tell people plastic plants don't do the same thing.
Yeah, and not to mention, I mean, plastic plants are just, you're taking something, an opportunity has totally been missed there. You still have to clean them because they catch dust too, and they don't look very good. And they stay the same painted green color forever, but you're not getting all the other benefits that you get with live indoor plants, which are just beautiful. And we highly encourage people to do that. And if you want to, go to Steve's website at plantz.com and buy some plants today because they are beautiful. They take their time with these too. They grow them in their own nursery area there, and it's a time-consuming process.
I'm sure you buy some of them in and step them up, or do you grow all your own stuff?
We grow very few.
Very few. Okay.
However, because of the pandemic and what it did to the nursery business, there was a gap in production that manifested itself this spring in a lack of mature material. And we had a serious problem with getting plants in our inventory. So we did buy several different types of immature plants, and we are growing them in our greenhouses to mature size.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that'll take
a little pivot.
Little more time, a little more energy, resources, intense to do that, but you'll have them when others don't, and so that gives you an edge.
Yes, it does. I will tell you the industry's come back pretty strong right now.
Okay.
The availability's good. So we're fully stocked on our site and ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, good. Yeah, and I have to say too, I'm so thrilled, with the CDC's recommendation to allow people to take their masks off and be able to get back to business. It is such a freeing thing. I didn't realize how much I would miss people's faces, which I have, being able to shake hands and stuff like that, and be able to conduct business in a normal fashion. So I'm happy to see that, and I know there's been a big shift in almost every industry because I ordered some promotional materials, and I was quoted a month to get stuff done, and I was like, you guys normally could get it done in a week, and they're like, well. We have an enormous amount of orders that have come in, and to me that was another litmus test to know that, okay, everybody else is thinking the way I'm thinking. They're thinking we got to have promotional materials and get that out to people, and which is a great sign because that tells me that businesses are coming back in a big way.
We were so happy when they took down the plexiglass here. We were dancing around. Of course, Joe was too, but he had to get official permission to take it down. But we had that plexiglass, so we couldn't see each other very well, and technically, I guess, it's for safety, but we didn't feel any more safe because we had plexiglass between us.
No, we didn't. I think it was more for the lawyers so that they would have some kind of fallback in case somebody got COVID.
Let's suffice it to say the studio is much better without the plexiglass.
Yes, we are much happier. Everybody around here is happier. My old buddy Paul Porter still has some plexiglass down there, but I don't know. He's probably worried that some fan's going to throw a basketball at him or something. He's got some protection, or a hockey.
He's a pretty big guy. I think he could hold his own.
Yeah, I think we could get him on skates on the ice out there. He could be a defensive man. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
But we're here. We've got Steve Stanford, who knows more about indoor plants than almost anybody I know. And if not, he calls me. No, I'm just kidding.
I like that. A throwback right to yourself.
Hey, you got to pat yourself on the back when you can.
I've got these brown spots on my plant stem. What should I do?
Well, we'll talk about you need to cut those leaves off. Sometimes cutting the leaves off is the best answer.
Yes.
Somebody's going to get out their Ghostbuster, thing to spray down their little, ficus. I'm thinking,
pluck the leaf off.
Take a leaf off. I'm going to spray with, 10 gallons of fungicide. It may not be your best option. Sometimes just removal and cleaning the leaf and getting rid of some leaves it's your best option, right?
It is. And now that you mentioned, a clean plant is a happy plant. So we recommend, we've got videos on our site about cleaning the plant, how to clean the plant. Very simple process.
All right, if you want to know more about making your little plant a happy, happy camper, we have the Happy Plant Maker right here in Plants, Plantz, and Steve is going to stay with us for another, I think we've got another segment coming up, and that means you stay right next to your radio and don't you move because you're listening to AM 860, The Answer.
Interested in having a home consult? Remember, you can reach Stan at 727-423-4794 or on the web at askmrgreenthumb.com. Welcome back to the Ask Mr. Green Thumb and Real Estate Show. Connect online at askmrgreenthumb.com. Got questions about gardening, real estate, or both? Give them a call, 727-254-7127. That's 727-254-7127. And now, your hosts, Stan and James DeFreitas.
And we are back, and we're with Steve Stanford, and James DeFreitas is here.
Yep, I'm James DeFreitas, and each and every week we are here to talk about plants and real estate. If you have any real estate questions, of course, you can go to FloridaAuctionTeam.com. That's FloridaAuctionTeam.com. And, of course, we are with Keller Williams. So if you have any questions about that, we are here to assist with that. You can go to that website, and our contact information is readily available. And also there is a schedule a meeting button on that website, which will take you to my Calendly page, which will allow you to schedule a 30-minute meeting with me anytime. If you have questions about how we operate, I'll be happy to take the time and answer those questions for you. And so that's a little bit about the other side of things that we do. And of course, we have Steve Stanford with Plants that is in the studio with us today. And so one of the things that we were talking about at the break is, your business is growing, and pun intended. So you are now in the Orlando area.
We are.
That's fantastic. So tell us more about that.
We merged/acquired the oldest known interior plant company in the Orlando market.
Wow.
They had been operated as Brown's. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that's the most fantastic name for a plant company, but that was Mrs. Brown's last name.
Okay.
They went by sense. Brown's, and she was a sweet old lady and ran the business for years. Ended up selling to a woman named Barbara Sills, and Barbara Sills ran it for years and years and grew it. And now we're happy to be partnered with them over in the Orlando market and dealing with I-4 traffic.
Oh, man. Well, my heart goes out to you just for that, because we were.
I know some end-arounds already, so.
Oh, cool. You'll have to tell us during the break.
Share with us.
429.
429.
Yeah, we took that on the way over, but not on the way back.
417 on the way back, I think.
But we made a mistake yesterday with that coming back mainly on I-4.
Well, you got to get dumped somewhere, it seems, into I-4.
I guess so.
Ooh. But that's tough. I-4 is great when it runs, and when it becomes a parking lot, you're going, how come I didn't figure 60 or something else?
And we were promised flying cars by now,
yes,
and they are not here. So I'm very disappointed. Come on, Elon, get on it. Let's go.
Yes. So we're very excited about the Orlando market. It's growing Tampa Bay is growing like crazy. Orlando's growing like crazy. The whole state is growing like crazy. We've got good leadership in Tallahassee as part of the reason. Wink, wink.
Yes.
True. So we're very happy about that. But Orlando's just got a different feel, a different vibe, and we're happy to be there.
Well, that's fantastic. So the company that you're with there, or that you purchased there, how many trucks and how big of operation are you dealing with there?
Well, compared to our size, it's maybe 1/10 of our size.
So it's significantly smaller than what
significantly smaller. We've got 2 part-time folks over there, excellent technicians. We could run it with 1 full-time technician, but when something's working, don't mess with it. And so that's my business philosophy. They've got good connections with the customers over there, and we hope to build on those relationships and the reputation.
Yeah, it just seems to me that the Orlando market, with all of the tourist attractions there, the hotels, all of that, if you get into those businesses, it seems to me that you'd be able to the sky's the limit in terms of plant rental business. I mean, I don't know how much, companies like Universal Studios and all that, they probably have a lot of internal
and probably in-house somewhat, I would think.
There's some in-house operations.
Yeah.
But, there's those in-house operations still have to purchase plants in from somewhere. And,
right.
We just need to have a bigger footprint over in Orlando, and we're getting there.
Yeah,
that's good.
Because that to me could potentially be a bigger market there than even here for you, depending on how that goes. So, that's always an interesting facet of your business.
Well, I'm always amazed too that with a lot of folks, it's like they're Greenthumber types that want to be the Greenthumbers. And then there are people who go, I'm a brown thumber and I kill everything I ever come in contact with, and I'm proud of it. And I'm going, well, look, even Greenthumbers, we can lose plants. I mean, if you're a professional, losing a plant is not a sin. It's going to happen from time to time. Unfortunately, it's like having your dog and cat. After 14 or 15 years, you're going to lose Snuffy, and you don't want that, but it's going to happen. And the same thing's going to happen with plants. Occasionally, you're gone somewhere, plant doesn't get water, it passes that critical wilt point, and it gives up, and it dies. But that's where you can buy a new one.
That's right.
And kind of like the goldfish, and replace it and not have to worry about it.
You just you gave out the most popular name, Snuffy. I'm sure there's at least 100 Snuffies out there.
I'm sure some people are probably crying now, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean to mention your dog. I mentioned dogs in general. But
you got time for a quick story?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So one time I got called in for jury duty. I'll try to make it as fast as I can. I got called in for jury duty. The voir dire, they're asking questions, Mr. Stanford, this, that, and I'm answering questions honestly and stuff. At the end of the session, everybody else exit this way. Mr. Stanford, we need to see you in judge's quarters. So I've got this police officer hauling me across the hallway.
They didn't put the cuffs on, did
and
they?
The judge, no cuffs
Not
yet.
this time.
So apparently the judge's staff was monitoring the proceedings, and the one woman said, hey, Mr. Stanford, I understand that you're a plant expert. I've got this little money plant over here, and it's dying and turning yellow. And I said, look, I'm a plant salesman. Buy another one. And I got out of it.
That's great. I was before a judge who's now retired one time, and it was funny because the other guy goes, do you have Mr. DeFreitas' book? No, I don't have his book. He was the opposition. Not that I care. To me, it's not personal. And but he, he didn't charge as much as I charged. And I thought, well, you're charged what you're worth. But the judge at the end goes, well, I'm going to let your witness go. He says, and unlike you, he says, I do have Mr. DeFreitas' book at home. And I thought, I'm getting my money. So that was great.
Oh, yeah, that was a fee hearing.
It was a fee hearing. Often on these things, I've got to wait at the end. You wait your 9 years, and then you go before a judge who decides, did you charge? And I said, well, I charge what I think I'm worth. Am I worth what most attorneys are worth? Well, no, I'm not going to get what most attorneys charge. But I want to get about 3/4 of what most attorneys charge. I said, I know some Latin they don't know. So, it's always, I am an attorney and you possibly couldn't be as smart as me. Well, let's start naming plant material and see who knows what. And then all of a sudden we're on a different footing. But I get that. They'll be going, let's hear your opine. I said, oh, you mean my opinion?
Yes.
Yes, we want your opine.
Buy a new plant.
That's right.
Buy a new
I'm going to use that in the next line when they go, why should we pay them anything for these plants? And I said, well, because they're supposed to be whole. If you take the plants, you ought to pay for them. And if they had to pay, Steve to come out and water them and fertilizing them and care for them, or me, and you had to put an effort into them, then there's value. And if the government says, well, you can't just take that down and burn it because you decide to, then there's an implied value by the government that if it has value, you have to be compensated for the value. But, I've had some appraiser types, too, that go, well, it's a plant, it's a palm or tray. I know a palm or tray. And you're going, no, that's not quite how we do
and
that.
I know who you're doing, too.
But, yeah, and he knows I'm just having fun with him. But, I literally had an appraiser tell me that one time. He goes, well, I know an oak tray from an oak tray from a palm tray. I'm like, what do you need? And I'm going, well, that's, do I tell you how to do your appraisals? Well, no. I said, well, then don't tell me how to do my plant appraisals because, I don't do, I don't just go out there and go say, oh, shucks, it's this. But I get that. and I've had that from
You just told him they're both angiosperms, and he can do what he wants with them.
Angiosperms. We can get into monocots and dicots.
We could.
All kinds of stuff. But I'm afraid I would lose my audience or the attorneys too.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
but
Well, we should mention though that we do work with the finest eminent domain attorneys in Tampa Bay, and we, one of the ones that we work with a lot, of course, is the great David Holloway. He recommends us to a lot of court cases, and he is a fantastic attorney.
we like David. We like Brian. We like Mr. Ricks. We like a lot of folks.
Yeah, Gregory Ricks, Brian Bolvas. We work with some of the best in the business.
If they say they've never worked with me, well, then hit the speed dial and go on down to somebody else.
I know the Rickses.
There you go.
Yeah, see?
Yes.
And
Nice folks.
Very nice.
We are here now. I imagine, do people call you and let's say they've got a big wedding coming up?
Sure.
And they want plans short term, but they want that place to look.
Sure.
That
sure. And that business really dried up over the last year.
Yeah,
but now it's coming back.
It is coming back. It is coming back. We're getting more and more requests for rental events. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely picking back up. I'm no barometer for that, but if somebody asks me, I'm saying, yeah.
Of course, yeah. I mean,
But I understand weddings are booked from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at country clubs, and it's coming back.
oh yeah, and,
Sure.
and thankfully, when the masks have come off, the weddings can come back, and,
Yeah.
and they can come back the way they should, with people interacting
Celebrating,
together and celebrating, and not having to maintain a 6-foot rule at a wedding. I saw that once, and it looked weird. To me, it's I would have postponed until I could have had it the way I wanted it. Well, can you believe it? Another hour has gone by. The great Steve Stanford came in with plants today. We so
Thanks for
enjoyed
having me,
that
guys.
she came in.
PLANTZ.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you need it for your, office building, need it for your home, want to send a plant to Aunt Martha, you can help, right?
I sure can.
We want to tell you to stay with us, and as you do every Sunday here on AM 860.